Hello, welcome to the Word Cafe podcast. This podcast has been designed with curated content that centers on the power of words. Can we really do anything without speaking? Can we really do anything without the agency of words? Yes, that is what this podcast is all about. And I am your host, Amakri Isobwe, your neighborhood word trader. I believe in the power of words, for it is the unit of creation. I trade in words to profit my world. Oh, yeah. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good to be here with you this evening. We've been having this wonderful time celebrating women, the women all around us. And you're wondering, why are we having a break tonight and having a guy on the show? Don't worry. You will know why when we go into full swing. The month of March, we have a lot of celebration. We talk about St. Patrick's Day, which is today, the 17th. We talk about preparing for Easter, the Lent season, and all that. Mind you, today is my birthday, so we have so much to celebrate. So today, on the Word Cafe live show, we've decided to take a little detour, to bring in someone. We all know him. I know we all know him. He's in the studio with me already. The person of Dike Chukwumerije, soft-spoken guy, but when you see him in action, whoa, the energy is something else. Dike, welcome. Can you hear me, Dike? People may be wondering, we're talking about the phenomenal woman. How come we're seeing a guy's face? And don't worry. Dike is here to tell us one or two things about the women in his life and what role they have played. But before we go on, this is how I like starting the show. Yes, you want me to introduce my guest and all that. Well, the truth is, I can't introduce them the way they will introduce themselves. So I'm going to allow Dike at this point to tell us, who is Dike Chukwumerije?
I'm a poet.
I like that.
I'm a poet, a writer. I am also a voracious reader. I read a lot.
You can see that from the look on your face and the glasses.
I don't know why they think everybody that wears glasses likes to read.
It's not the case. It's a costly assumption anyway.
Yeah. What else? I read law in school.
Okay.
But sort of followed my passion for writing and poetry, and it has sort of evolved and developed into all sorts of activity.
Yeah.
I'm married with children. I think that's it, essentially.
I like that. The first time I met Dike, would I say it was planned or fated, something like that? I saw the face. I've heard his voice about the radio, read poems and all that. And somehow I saw the name and the face, and I excuse me, are you so and so present? He said, yes. I said, I heard your voice somewhere. I heard your voice somewhere, and he invited me for one of his shows. Nigeria, remind me again.
Made in Nigeria.
Made in Nigeria. He talked about Nigeria from 1914 till I think that was 2014 or so, when we turned 100 or so.
Yeah.
The persona I saw on stage and the persona I saw as in discussing with two different people. You could feel the energy. Can you tell us something about that? Please tell us. Made in Nigeria. Tell us.
It's a spoken word theater production, which essentially means we we perform poetry in a dramatic context. So we bring it alive. We don't just read it. We bring it alive with our movements, our voice, and different things on stage. And it's something that had been in my spirit for many years, and finally took on form.
In your spirit, I like that.
Yeah, it always comes out with the passion, with a lot of passion, because it was conceived in passion. I don't consciously switch on and off or have double personalities, but when I'm performing and I'm in the flow, or it just comes across. You get lost. You are sucked into what you're doing, and so you assume the spirit, the character, or whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah,
so
at that moment you are one with what you're doing, more or less. Amazing.
Yeah.
That day, I came to the show that day with my wife. She was like, theater. We'll just sit down and be looking at people. Do you think we're going to catch fun? I said, don't worry, just come. It's Dike. When we get there, you'll see. So when she saw you performing, she was like, my God, this is the first time I'm enjoying theater as in seeing people. And I told you, because I saw some clips before that time, previous shows and all that. Amazing. But how many places have you gone to so far with this within the country? I mean,
we've gone to 10 states within the country.
Whoa.
About 10.
Whoa. And I believe outside the country too.
We've not yet been with this particular show outside the country, but we hope to sometime.
Sometime. More grace. So, we're celebrating women this season, and they are the reason why we are here, as it were. Can you tell us that female or feminine essence that drives you?
The women in my life are a major source of inspiration for my life, a major source, a major reason for why I am the way I am. Beginning with my mother, who obviously bore me and raised me and played such a fundamental role in shaping me, my personality, my character, and things like that. She was also my first fan, if you like, the first fan of my writing. And her encouragement and was fundamental to me continuing to write and all that. I always tease her now that from day one, anything I write, she'll say is fantastic, is marvelous, is even when it was rubbish, she'll just say it's marvelous.
Yeah.
That's what mothers do. Sometimes they, lie you into you.
They lie you into you. I like that. Amazing. They lie you into you. Yes. Go on.
So she was my first fan, and it was played a real big role in just continuing to do what I was doing. And then there's my sister. I have only one sister, and she also played a critical role at a certain junction in my career. For her, she was that one voice in my life that was always sort of just gave me honest feedback, very honest and critical feedback. So even as a young boy, I had the balance. My mom would always praise me, and my sister would, she'd tell me the truth. I don't understand this thing you're writing. It doesn't make sense to me, So
the balance.
I always knew that if I ever write something and she says, man, this thing is good, then it must be good. It was really good. And so at some point, I started getting some very positive feedback from her, saying that, man, your writing has really become very good.
Has improved.
And I was like, really? She was like, yeah. I just said, I think you actually start charging people for this. And I was like, for real? She was like, yes. And so she gave me the confidence to take that step, from just thinking, to realizing the value of what I was doing, that it really had value. And then there is my wife, who even before we got married, when we're still dating, we'd read all my writing. I had piles and piles of poetry books. She would read through them, and then she would give me very, very, very moving, she would give me feedback that motivated me to write more.
Okay, to write more.
Like she really got like she was seeing what I was seeing. And to be honest, it was one of the things that I took into consideration in actually getting married to her, because I knew I couldn't marry someone who couldn't really appreciate my art. It would have been a problem. So even from before we got married, I was happy that when she read it, she seemed to see what I saw. Yeah. And while I was building my career as a poet, building my business, she's been a rock, a pillar. Often reads and reviews everything I write. She's often the first person to see a new work and might say, I don't like this bit, I don't like that bit. It's often the administrative backbone behind everything, answering emails for me, getting in contact with people. I remember the first time I did Made in Nigeria, we did it 3 days in a row, and every night I'll come back and wash the costumes, dry them, iron them, things like that. Just very behind the scene things without which a show cannot be successful. So we can call her the author's author. Yeah, definitely.
Go on.
Without her, I wouldn't have been able to get out of the house to get this thing going. Like nobody bending down so that you can step on them and go up. So that's sort of, so the women in my life have had very, very, a very strong influence on me and on my art.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hello, nerds. Come listen to the History Nerds United podcast, and let's make history fun again. We interview today's best authors, whether they are established Pulitzer Prize winners or someone debuting their first book. Let us show you that history is not a boring class you took in high school, but a place where the best stories come from. And we don't just cover history, we also love to chat about true crime, biographies, memoirs, and so much more. So head on over to History Nerds United and let us introduce you to your new favorite book and learn the story behind the story.
History Nerds United.
Yeah. I can, just listening to you, moving from your mom to your sister to your wife, I know a lot of us out there can relate with this. A lot of us out there. When I started the following in your footsteps in writing, the first person that pushed me into writing was my wife. She criticized the work, no, this is not you. You can do better and all that. And the first work, when I was about publishing, and she asked me, who is going to do the foreword? I said, I'm going to call Dike. She said, will he have that time? I said, I'll talk to him. And somehow when I approached you guys, I approached him, yes, for my first work, The Cocktail of Words. And when you did the foreword, honestly, I gave it to her to read. Do you know what she said? Hello, Dike. She said, you guys are flowing in the same mood. Like, the way he writes is the way you write. I said, well, you can see why I follow him, because I learned a lot from him. She did not, what I mean, did not criticize it like, I don't like this. She just fell in love with it, said, let's go with it. So I can really relate with you on that. When you say your wife, she goes through all your write-ups and all that. My wife does the same for me. Every single thing I write. Amazing. Now, what is it with you and poetry and Nigeria? Because I realized when hello? Are you there?
I'm here. Yeah.
All right. What is it with you, poetry and Nigeria?
I mean, poetry is a gift, I guess.
Yeah.
And Nigeria is a passion. Nigeria is my homeland. It's my homeland. It's my home country. So I have a deep love for my homeland. I've always done so. I'm one of those people that can genuinely feel Nigerian because I'm Igbo from Abia State, but was born in Lagos. You know, I grew up did my primary and secondary school in Lagos. And then I went to Abuja to do my university, you know, and then I traveled back to the east to do my law school. My best friend is from Kaduna State. Anyway, I'm one of those people that by their life experience, by their life path, I grew up in different parts of Nigeria. I have friends and family from all over the country. So I feel very naturally and organically in Nigeria. Culturally, I'm Igbo, but my civic identity is Nigerian. You know, and I love my country, and I think that it's a country that has a lot of potential. You know, it's like looking at a very talented person. You know, a very talented person that doesn't have the discipline. You know, to really pay attention to their talent, and it breaks your heart because you know that, man, if this person just gets their act together, you know, there will be such a force to reckon with. If Nigeria just gets its acts together, it will be such a force to reckon with in the global community, in a way that I don't think any other African country can, because of the way Nigeria is composed, because of the diversity, because of the size, because of some of the things that were gifted when we were created. Because I don't believe there are any accidents in creation. I think everything is deliberate. Everything has a purpose. You know, that unique geophysical characteristics we have. You know, they put Nigeria in a position where, man, if the country has good governance, good leaders, we'll be so dominant on the world stage. We'll be the natural ambassadors, the natural carriers of the hopes of Africa and Black people all over the world. It will just be undisputed. Even now, as dysfunctional as we are, you still can't ignore us. As dysfunctional as we are, Nigeria is a country that can't really be ignored on the global stage. True. So imagine if we had our act together, just how powerful it would be. So again, that vision, you know, also is something it's like a faith. It's like seeing what something can be and drawing inspiration from that.
From it.
I think a lot of my peers and people around me, they sort of focus on what Nigeria is today, and so they feed off that negativity. But many years ago, I began to really focus on what Nigeria can be, and feed off that vision to give me strength to continue, you know, to labor and fight in the present for a better country.
Wow.
So it's two things, but I actually genuinely love my country, just from, you know, the chaotic streets of Lagos, the quiet streets of Abuja, the emptiness of the north, you know, the smell of the
He's doing it. I like that flow.
I remember when I went to Brass, man, I stood at Brass at the edge of you're looking into the Atlantic Ocean and just thinking this mighty country from the Atlantic all the way to the Sahara. Now we get some.
I did tell you.
You know, so there's genuine love for the country, you know, and then there's that vision You know, so that's where the passion comes from. And so I just channel it into poetry, you know, and that's it.
Guys, I must tell you, when you sit under Dike's performance about Nigeria, if you doubted if Nigeria will become anything, you'll become a believer. Honestly, you'll become a believer. He just did a little bit of it there, you know, flowing from the north to the south to the east and all that, bringing those words. Oh, wonderful having you here, Dike. Now, what is your take? What do you think the role women can play in this aspect you mentioned about Nigeria? What's their role?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? The internet connection.
Okay, sorry. I said, based on everything you have submitted so far about the nation, our country, Nigeria, what's the role of women in building it to that dream, that desire that you have painted in your stories?
It's very important that women, first of all, that as a culture, as a nation, as a society, that we begin to really overcome our traditional chauvinism, where we sideline women or we restrict them to certain activities. For our society to develop, all our engines must be firing at full capacity. You know, Nigeria, I believe there are more women than men in Nigeria if you look at the demographics. So when you have over half of your population that is oppressed and suppressed and limited and restricted to, you know, then it's like trying to fight a battle with one hand tied behind your back. But first of all, we have to lose our women and set them free and tell them, our daughters, tell them that they can be anything that they want to be. You know, give them confidence, give them courage, let them know that their destinies are not tied up in any man or being anybody's wife or being anybody's sidekick, that they can take it on their own. So we raise our daughters, you know, with these things, because we need all Nigerians on their toes to move the country forward. And then women, like, I don't know if there's any thing peculiar that women need to do to move Nigeria forward, but they need to do what every Nigerian citizen needs to do, which is to get engaged, to engage more, particularly with the electoral process. We live in a democracy, and essentially we have the leaders that we elect, and it's the leaders that determine the outlook of the nation. So we need to elect better leaders, and women play a major role in this. Like I said, there are more women in society, and so if women really mobilize in numbers, they can really affect the outcome of elections, to really go out there to ensure that we have the right kinds of people coming out as candidates in parties to elect the right people. Then there's of course the fact that women also, when they settle down in homes, they have a lot of influence in their homes over their children and their husbands, you know. So these are also softer areas where you can also influence, to teach their children positive values, to teach them love for their society, to teach them to be their brothers and sisters keepers, to teach them to have a heart for their community, you know, not to indulge in this very negative selfishness, where you think that you can be an island of prosperity in a sea of decadence and poverty, to make them understand, you know, that an individual cannot rise above the fate of his or her community. Eventually, the fate of your community will catch up with you, no matter how talented that you are. So to give people that heart for public service, that sensitivity to, okay, I'm a bit okay, but what about my neighbor? What about my town? What about my village? What about my community, my region? You know, that we all have to help each other move forward. So all these are things that women can, in every area in which they find themselves, you know, they can help to build the nation. But I think that it all begins with us really, really taking that step forward as a society to move away from this chauvinistic culture, you know, where we think that women should sit back and men should go and do everything. Like I said, we have to lose our women and set them, just let them
Set
be
them free.
everything that they can be. Because we need that energy. We need it in our economy. We need it in our politics. We need it in every aspect of society. We need every Nigerian firing on all cylinders.
Amazing. I like that. You cannot go beyond your community. If your community is bad, no matter how successful you are, it's all about time it will catch up with you. I pick that. Dike, can you tell us your finest moment in your activity? Point to one each time you close your eyes and you remember that particular moment. It brings that smile on your face.
Sorry, say it again.
I think your finest moment. So far, you've been in this art for quite a while. So which would you point to and say, whenever I think about what I did on the stage that day, it brings this everlasting smile, on my face?
I don't know. A hard one. There have been so many moments. I may have to pick the first time I really stepped out on stage and started doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So when I went beyond my comfort zone, just standing in one place reciting a poem. The first time I really began to put into practice the ideas and visions I had in my head was something about 2014 or 2015.
Okay.
My dad had just died, and his death gingered me, made me realize that, man, everybody will die one day. So just give life, give every day your fullest. Don't leave anything behind. Leave it all on the stage. I think that show that I did 6 months after my dad died was one that I'll always remember. But it's
wonderful. Some people are making some comments. All right, that's Daniel Ogulu from the US. Daniel, thank you. Then Informer, I saw another comment. Yes, you cannot live above your community no matter how talented you are. Thank you, Informer. Thank you, Informer. All right. Dike has a lot to do this evening, so I have to let him go. But before he leaves us, I want him to... Dike, you have to do a line for us. You have to do a line for us. A line, either from the wall at the bridge. You just have to do a line for us. We need to hear that theme before we let you go.
Do you not know that poverty is not an Ijoman? He will not spare the rest of us and afflict.
Wow, we lost him. Guys, that was Dike Chukwumerije. Network is an issue with us this evening, but I want to believe we got some aspects from the little moment he spent with us. He has another event to catch up with, and he had to squeeze this time to come on the show to share with us, but he will try and join in again. But before we let him go, he will do one of his poems. Just take a line there and share with us. But I know you got, for those of us following the conversation, and it maybe when you watch it again, that statement he made, you cannot, no matter how successful you are, you belong to a community. If that community is not growing, it's all about time your success will be dwarfed, and the place of our mothers, our sisters, our women in nation building. Yes, guys, this is the month of March. We're celebrating our women, our sisters, our mothers, all of them. We're celebrating them here on the Word Cafe live show. I'm your host, Amadre Isoboye. I believe in the power of words, for it is the unit of creation. We lost Dike. Don't worry, we're going to bring him back on the show sometime in the future, and he's going to do his thing. Thank you for being there. Thank you. What are we going to do tomorrow, the future? Hang in there. Something good is coming your way. Till we come your way again. Bye for now.
awesome time it has been with you on the Word Cafe podcast today. Thank you for being there. You can catch me up on my social media handles, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all at Amakri Isoboye. Also, you can get copies of my books, A Cocktail of Words, The Color of Words, and my HRO notebook on Amazon and on Roving Heights online bookstores. You can also subscribe to my YouTube page at the same address. Yes, till we see you again. Bye for now.